everybody. Wade Northhausen here for Billboard Battalion. Today we're coming to you from Canberra, Parliament House, and today is the 29th of July 2025. So this is the second week we've been in Canberra here and trying to catch up with our politicians to talk about the international health regulations and also the One Health policy, and describe to people in their own words how serious this is and what it's about. We've had a fair bit of trouble trying to get get politicians to have the time to actually talk to us, but we are making progress there. So we've got some interviews organised that we'll be doing tomorrow and the next day. Yesterday here at the front, it was rather interesting that we attended a press conference with some of the Nationals, Barnaby Joyce, Matt Canavan and Michael McCormick and some of the others. And, Barnaby Joyce is presenting a private member's bill that is about pulling Australia out of net zero. So this is a fairly big sort of a turnaround, and I think it's something that's critically important. So, to see that sort of thing happening here now, I think is a recognition that the Australian people are really, really sick to death of having the policies being put in place that are in fact destroying our country, absolutely wiping out our country, wiping out our businesses, and in particular our farmers. As was discussed yesterday, a lot of it has to do with people not being able to afford to live. They talk about the cost of living crisis. Well, it's a man-made one, and it's made by policies from government. So getting to net zero is a disaster. Now, it's rather interesting what we've seen since we've been here, looking at a lot of what's happened in Parliament, and a lot of the Labor and Greens politicians that talk about things, and a lot of their maiden speeches, and the policy directions that they're going in. And when you listen to them talk, it sounds remarkable. It sounds great. They talk about looking after kids. They talk about people being able to afford housing. They talk about people having jobs. They talk about all this sort of great stuff. And while you're listening to them talking in Parliament, you'd almost be sucked into believing that these people have half a clue in the world what. However, when you look at the policies that they actually vote on, and when you look at what they bring in to legislation and law, particularly with regard to the likes of the international health regulations and the One Health policy, these things are disastrous for everybody that they talk about. They say how they, care about all these things, our kids, housing, jobs, cost of living, but they seem to not have a clue. I don't know what the hell's wrong with these people, whether they're the best liars in the world. They're stupid. So, this is some of the things that we've seen here while we've been in Parliament. Now, in order to be fair, transparent, and give a good representation to all sides, we've reached out to a number of these Labor Party politicians and we said, well, how about coming on, doing interviews with us and talking about the impact on Australians of these IHRs and the One Health policy. Responses from the Labor Party is zilch, nothing. We've reached out to the Health Minister, Mark Butler, who is responsible for this disaster, this absolute catastrophic disaster. Nothing, not a word. We've reached out to a number of the other Labor politicians. They do not want to talk about they do not want to let the Australian public know how disastrous they are. The Greens people, all they seem to be doing is being very abusive to others. That's their thing, getting up in the Parliament there and about issues to do with farming and biosecurity. And the Greens bloke there stood up and just abused the hell out of him. swore and carry on in Parliament. So I'm not sure what the Greens' problem is, but I think they're fairly large and varied. So it'll be interesting to be able to actually sit down with some of these politicians, normal, intelligent discussion based on something they don't like, which are the facts. What is the data? What are the facts? You know, they sit up there, and many of them doing their maiden speeches, they thanked a lot the union movement, the trade union. So I want to ask them, is this a very trade union movement that your policies are in the business of the jobs, our industries, everything that you talk about? Your policies are wiping them out. That's why we're seeing businesses going broke, jobs lost, people can't afford a house, they can't afford to live. It's because of the policies that are destroying them. This is one of the reasons why they don't want to talk to us. So it's interesting what we're seeing with the Nats. We're starting to get somewhere in terms of getting some interviews organised with the Nationals. But we do have one National down in the seat of Mallee. Yeah, this is our old mate Webster. Now, we contacted Ann Webster's office last week to say, rightio, well, you know, there's a lot happening in the agricultural sector around the Mallee region, Western Victoria, Central Highlands there, with regard to so-called renewable energy. And we thought, well, let's get our old mate, Dr. Ann Webster, to do an interview with Billboard Battalion and just, in her own words, tell us how disastrous this international health regulations are. Give her an opportunity, in her own words, just tell people what she thinks about it. Warn people of how catastrophically dangerous this is. Ann Webster's terrific staff. I think this bloke's name might have been Rick, I'm not sure. Actually gave me a bit of a burst and sort of a good old thing off. And said that they wouldn't be talking. Haven't seen that sort of thing for a long time. We'll be back in the area again, and don't worry about. And you know, we'll certainly make sure back in the area. Somebody in the region, you know, get on to Ann Webster's office and just ask them, why will you not talk to Wade at Billboard Battalion? Is there something we've told lies about, Ann? I don't know. If there's some you don't want to talk to us, or why your staff is so, or one of them anyway. So no, let us know. If anything that Billboard Battalion has said is incorrect, let us know. Here to talk to a whole heap of people. Quite happy to do an interview. Even at this point now, you know, if you rang up and said, okay, let's do an interview at Billboard Battalion, and been set up with. All right, so we'll get another update tomorrow. We've got some good interviews lined up now. One Nation are coming back to us now that we can do some interviews there. We've got a few other people. We did Ralph Babette's interview last week. It was really just absolutely fantastic. So I think we've got something going on with the Nats too. I think we're starting to get somewhere there. So the people we don't have much going on with is, of course, the Labor Party and the Greens. So they, you know, they are quite welcome to come on, and I'll do an interview with them, with the Prime Minister, the Health Minister, or any of the other ones. We'll talk a bit more about the Labor Party tomorrow. So we'll get going now. We've got a fair bit to do. So thanks very much to everybody, and we'll be back to you tomorrow. Thank you.